Prior to commencing the narrative, I would like to announce that the Spiritual Sovereign Mapping Packet will be available for a limited period. This packet is scheduled to be posted on my website around October 4th, 2025. Due to the need for multiple online sessions to effectively customize each sovereign map, only a select number of candidates can be accommodated at one time. A comprehensive explanation of spiritual sovereign mapping will be provided in a subsequent episode. Within this visual account, readers will gain insight into my personal spiritual sovereign mapping grimoire, which I successfully compiled over 4 months. Understanding the concept of becoming a knower of self is essential. With assistance from my esteemed colleague Sabiel, who contributed numerous illustrated parchment scrolls in a short time frame, I was able to incorporate various ancient scrolls, codices, and recipes into the book. Sabiel also provides valuable prompts that enable further independent exploration. If you are considering to invest in spiritual sovereign mapping, you can check out my website, www.artswithneteru.com/shop, or on Etsy:/http. Chapter 1: The Archivist's Observatory, The Path of Sovereigns and the Echoes of Stars. Prologue: The embers rekindled. Children of the embers, gather once more around the luminous hearth, for the journey deepens beyond the first telling. In the gentle hush that precedes creation's song, a whisper stirs, a promise, a beckoning, the faint pulse of stars within each spirit. The world, ever hungering for meaning amid the roaring tides of illusion, waits for those who dare to listen, who let the embers within rekindle the fire of purpose. Let us reaffirm the call, not only to witness my story, but to let your own spirit unfurl like a banner in cosmic wind. This path is not only mine, but yours, entwined with the threads of eternity, woven from the very dust of forgotten dreams. And so, as the book opens once more, let memory and imagination be your lantern. Let the voice of the flame bearer reach beyond shadowed veils, inviting all who wander to find solace, wisdom, and the courage to journey onward. The tapestry is wide, and the spirit path awaits. Section 1: The Observatory's Deeper Mysteries. The observatory, cradle of celestial wisdom, stood as a threshold between worlds, the known and the unknown, the seen and the secret. Its architecture was more than stone or star metal. It was woven from the silence between notes, the breath between words. Here I moved among chambers unnamed, each one a spirit fire deeper into the fabric of reality. The walls shimmered with glyphs that danced in starlight, codices alive with stories written not in ink, but in frequencies of longing and remembrance. Beyond the chamber of silent stars, I discovered the Hall of Time's echo, a place where clocks spun in reverse and memories floated untethered. Each tick was a ripple in the pond of eternity, each talk a heartbeat echoing the first dreamer's wish. I gazed through windows that were not windows, but portals. One revealed galaxies birthing themselves in waves of color. Another showed worlds collapsing into pearls of wisdom, their lessons distilled for those brave enough to drink. In the gallery of forgotten names, I beheld tapestries showing humanity's journey, a procession of souls, each marked by the embers they carried, each searching for home. The air hummed with the resonance of destiny, and I sensed the invisible hands of guardians guiding, nudging, quietly urging each flame toward its own awakening. Section 2. The Archivist's Lessons. The archivist returned, a being both ancient and ageless, cloaked in spectra and shadow, his eyes ablaze with constellations yet unnamed. With a gesture, he summoned scrolls and relics, each a parable etched in the language of stars. His presence rippled through the chamber, both invitation and challenge. The parable of the two rivers. Consider, child of embers, intoned the archivist, the twin rivers that wind through the world of form. One glitters loudly, its surface catching every passing gaze, but beneath its current is shallow, its song fleeting. The other runs deep and quiet, its waters dark with reflection, its treasures hidden from hurried eyes. Seek not the brilliance that blinds, but the depth that nurtures. Discernment is the oar, sovereignty, the vessel. The allegory of the mask maker. In a city of shifting faces, a mask maker crafted visages for those fleeing sorrow. Each mask promised reprieve, yet every wearer grew distant from their own reflection. Only when a seeker shattered her mask and faced the mirror, trembling, did she reclaim the truth of her own gaze. Thus, the archivist taught, illusions comfort, but only truth liberates. The lesson of the lanterns. Revisited, the archivist extended the allegory. The flame that burns for approval is devoured by shadows. The light that burns for truth illumines the path for many, though its journey be solitary. Be not dazzled by attention and noise, but guided by authenticity. In darkness, even a single lantern can reveal the way. He showed me a scroll inscribed with the song of becoming, a tale of a star that chose to collapse upon itself, not out of despair, but to birth a galaxy from its ashes. The greatest sovereignty, whispered the archivist, is to choose transformation when all else urges stasis. Section 3. The Spirit Fire Path. Led by the archivist, I descended the spiral staircase at the heart of the observatory, a path coiled like a serpent eating its own tail. Each step was a question, each curve a revelation. The air thickened with possibility, and the boundaries between self and cosmos blurred. The allegory of the gatekeeper. At the first curve, a gatekeeper appeared, woven of mist and memory. He posed a riddle. What do you carry from the world below? I searched my satchel, finding not objects, but burdens, regrets, fears, unspoken dreams. Only when I set these down, light as feathers in the gatekeeper's palm, did the Great Spirit open before me. Sovereignty, said the gatekeeper, begins in letting go. As I descended deeper, spectral visions arose, fields of broken mirrors, forests of silent watchers, rivers that sang in forgotten tongues. Each vision was both challenge and guide, teaching discernment by stripping away illusion. The parable of the whispering stones. In a valley of stones, each whispered a secret. Some murmured promises, others warnings. Only those who listened with patience could distinguish wisdom from folly. In your path, spoke the archivist, noise will tempt you. Silence will teach you. At the soul's core, I beheld the mirror of sovereigns, a pool of starlight undisturbed by surface tension. It reflected not who I wished to be, but who I truly was beneath all stories. I lingered, trembling, for the gaze of the true self is both a wound and a balm. Section 4. The Mapmaker's Right. Beyond the glowing spirit of life, I entered the sanctum of the Mapmaker, a being of ink and fire, hands stained with the blood of stars and the dust of forgotten worlds. The Mapmaker greeted me with a nod, eyes glinting with the resolve of those who chart destinies. The forging of the sovereign compass was a rite of passage, both ritual and revelation. I was led to a table of celestial parchment, upon which lines ebbed and flowed, refusing to hold still. To map sovereignty, said the mapmaker, is to relinquish certainty. The true compass points not to the world's cardinal directions, but to the heart's calling. I dipped my hand into a well of cosmic ink, feeling the rush of ancient memories and untold futures. With each mark, visions flickered, a phoenix rising from cinders, a child setting forth on an endless road, a lantern burning quietly in the wild. The mapmaker chanted softly, weaving spells that bound the compass to my spirit. This is exactly what I can do for you, beloveds. The Parable of the Weaver. A weaver, longing for perfection, tried to control every thread. Her tapestries grew rigid, brittle, unable to bear the weight of change. Another weaver let the threads dance, trusting each to find its place. Her creations shimmered with life, strong enough to endure sorrow and joy. Control breeds illusion, said the mapmaker. Trust births sovereignty. When the compass was forged, it pulsed with my own rhythm, a guide not for the mind, but for the soul. You are now mapmaker and traveler, intoned the mapmaker. Let the songbirds of the spirit lead you, but let your own truth chart the course. Section 5. The Guardian's Council. Lantern in hand, compass beating with the pulse of my being, I was summoned to the Council of Guardians. The chamber was vast, its ceiling lost in nebulae, its floor a mosaic of forgotten dreams. Guardians gathered, some tall as mountains, others subtle as wind, their forms shifting between memory and possibility. The guardian of thresholds. Draped in veils of midnight, this being spoke in echoes. Every ending is a beginning. To pass is to become his eyes held storms and calm seas, inviting me to surrender what I had outgrown. The guardian of reflections. Her face shone with the light of a billion stars, her words gentle as dawn. See yourself in all things. Compassion is the bridge across every chasm. The guardian of shadows. Cloaked in absence, his presence invoked discomfort and courage. What you fear will teach you. The shadow is not your enemy, but your greatest teacher. They spoke in parables, their stories weaving into one another, the allegory of the luminous bridge. A traveler, faced with an abyss, tried to leap across but fell into darkness. Another, accepting help from a stranger, built a bridge from their combined light. Sovereignty is not isolation, declared the council, but the courage to accept and offer light. The Parable of the Echoing Chamber. In a hall of infinite echoes, A seeker mistook every echo for truth. Only by tracing the original sound did she find clarity. Discernment, intoned the guardians, means tracing the source, not clinging to the noise. Section 6. The Veil of Illusion. With the guardian's wisdom woven into my spirit, I approached the veil of illusion, a shroud of mist separating reality from desire. Here, illusions danced, seductive and relentless, mirages of success, specters of belonging, shadows of fear masquerading as prophecy. The archivist appeared beside me, his presence grounding amid the swirling haze. To awaken, he murmured, is to see the veil for what it is, a garment woven by longing, fear, and memory. The allegory of the painted door. In a city of endless corridors, each door was painted with promises, a new life, a perfect love, eternal peace. The seeker opened door after door, always finding the same gray room. Only when she ceased seeking and looked to the plain, unadorned door at the end of the hall did she find the way out. Illusions are painted with hope, whispered the archivist, but only truth grants passage. The parable of the sleeping lion. A lion dreaming of his own strength slept through the dawn and missed the hunt. When he awoke, he was weaker for every dream that kept him from action. Discernment is awakening, said the archivist, not just from sleep, but from the dreams that beguile. I walked through the veil, letting each illusion fall away, each mask crack and dissolve. The pain was sharp, but in its wake came clarity, a vision of the world as it is and the self as it might become. Section 7. The Sovereign's Choice. Emerging from the veil, I stood at the crossroads of sovereignty, a place where choice is both a burden and a gift. Here, the air was electric with possibility, the ground humming with the echoes of 1,000 paths. The archivist and the guardians watched in silence as I pondered the road ahead. To claim sovereignty is to accept responsibility, not for the world's chaos, but for one's own heart. Freedom is not escape, but engagement, not avoidance, but embrace. The parable of the garden. Unattended, a sovereign built a garden, planting seeds of wisdom and hope. In the pursuit of other gardens, he left his own untended. Weeds grew, and the flowers withered. Only when he returned, hands dirty, heart humbled, did the garden bloom anew. Responsibility, said the archivist, is the soil of sovereignty. The allegory of the two mirrors. One mirror flattered, showing the seeker as she wished to be. The other, unadorned, reflected her as she truly was. She recoiled at first, then drew closer, embracing her flaws and strengths alike. Only then did the room fill with light. True vision, whispered the guardians, requires the courage to see. I chose the spirit path anew, guided not by certainty, but by trust in the compass forged within. I vowed to keep my lantern alight, not for followers, but for those wandering in shadow. Section 8. The Journey Beyond. Beyond the crossroads, the threshold loomed, neither ending nor beginning, but transformation. The guardians gathered, their forms more radiant and ineffable than ever, each holding a key to the mystery of life beyond mortality. I crossed the threshold, soul trembling, spirit aflame. The world behind me faded. Ahead stretched realms of possibility, fields of golden light, rivers of memory flowing toward the infinite. Here, time was a circle, and every ending was a song, beginning anew. The allegory of the phoenix's breath. A bird, born from ashes, feared the fire that birthed her. Only by surrendering to the flame did she discover her wings. Transformation, sang the guardians. is the invitation of the unknown. In this realm, the dead are not lost, but changed. The living, not bound, but beckoned to unfold. The guardians invited me to shed all names, to become not what I had been, but what I might yet be. Their voices, felt rather than heard, resonated in the marrow of my being. I glimpsed the spirit not as a path, but as a living force, coiling through every life, every choice, every dream. The journey beyond mortality is not escape, but deeper engagement, a continual dance with the mystery at the heart of existence. Epilogue. The call renewed. Children of the embers, the observatory's doors remain ever open. The spirit path winds onward, calling you to deeper mysteries, greater wisdom, and the luminous unknown. As you tend your own lanterns, as you chart your own maps, know that the journey is not meant to be hurried, nor the lessons forced. The guardians watch, the archivist waits, the mapmaker prepares new parchment. Your embers are not forgotten. Your sovereignty is yours to claim. In the next chapter, we shall venture further, beyond the soul, into the heart of the sovereign's song, where each note is a star and each silence the promise of dawn. Until then, keep your embers alight and your gaze steady. Let discernment guide you beyond illusion. Let sovereignty be your compass, and let the wisdom of silent stars illuminate your way. For every ending is a threshold, every threshold a beginning, and every journey, seen or unseen, a story woven into the tapestry of the cosmos, to be continued